Hey, you guys, it's Monday.
It's Monday.
You know what that means? That's some haunting shit.
Some haunting, yeah. Yeah, and this is going to be a good show because this is one of the better episodes.
I had actually forgotten all about this one. Somebody recommended, I don't remember who it was, but somebody recommended this one because I made a list. I think there's like 5 other ones that people recommended. So we were just kind of like randomly. So this was just kind of like the first one when we were digging through the DVD set. This is just the first one that was on the recommended list that came up. So we say, fuck it, we'll just watch this one, which is called Stalked by Evil.
Yeah.
I hate when I'm stalked by evil. Doesn't that suck? When
yeah, and in this one, it's basically cute girl being stalked by an evil ghost, and they got a cute little chick playing her, and then when you see the real girl, she's even cuter. So it's a good episode.
Which, like I said, they don't usually do that. Usually, and I'm just no shade or anything like that.
Yeah, not throwing shade on a girl.
But no, I'm not talking about her in particular. I'm just saying that like no shade, but normally you see the actresses in the thing, and then like you see the real person, and you're just like, oh well.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't really want to say anything like that, but you know what I mean. But in this case, well, the girl, I mean, she doesn't really look like her because the girl that they got to play her was like a blonde who actually like looked a lot like one of my cousins, at least when she was a kid.
Yeah,
and
she's a little twiggy little thing. She's cool looking.
And the actual girl kind of looked like a little bit like Avril Lavigne or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, we were watching it and I was reanalyzing the case, and it has some similarities to Poltergeist phenomenon. The focus is definitely a young girl, a charismatic young girl. This may have been Poltergeist, although Steve Mera, parapsychologist that Jenny's written books with and who's kind of a friend of mine, online friend of mine, he said there are some cases that seem to be kind of in between, which that'd be spooky, you know. That the one that my family witnessed was classic Poltergeist, which was a fake ghost. There was no ghost there, but it was definitely moving objects. But that's another story. Recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis of the subconscious mind, and this one could have been that. It could be RSPK, but there were certain elements of it that kind of, I don't know. A poltergeist could do this. It could, but so we'll talk about it. But before we get into the show, I just wanted to thank some of the people that show up early while the countdown's beginning.
While the soothing music is on.
Yeah, because we're sitting and listening to it too, you know, and getting ready, and fucking I'm seeing who's showing up and go, oh, it's good. They're in there waiting. So it's firing us up, because it kind of sucks to go on stage before a fucking empty fucking audience, you know what I mean? At least somebody's hearing you live, so.
I don't worry about it too much because, like I said, I mean,
recorded, so.
I make a lot of videos, so I just kind of like imagine, because really, to be fair, I'm just like sitting here in front of my laptop, like in my office. Yeah. So, but I imagine you guys like listening to me talking.
I like a live audience though. It adds a different dynamic to it.
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I am glad that we started doing the sidetrack shows and I don't know, like having the regular shows be live, like that's kind of like a double-edged sword, like I said, because I do like it because I like the interaction with everybody, but it's like so easy to get distracted, and then like I get frustrated because I'm like, we're supposed to be talking about the topic, you know what I mean? So but I don't know. So I don't know if I'd want to go back to doing it recorded though, but
they're good for some things.
Yeah.
When you have to do.
But I mean, that's why I went back to doing like recorded like true crime shit like on my new Crime and Memorial channel, and why I went back to doing recorded horror shit like on my Scare Salon channel was just because I was like, well, I want to be able to like make videos that are more focused on one thing, and then I don't have to like worry about it as much, because you know how I do. I worry about everything.
Well, if you can do them live, you might want to do them live, because you can get a super chat.
I mean, I might someday. Yeah. When the channels get bigger.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's right. They're not really monetized yet, so it doesn't really.
No, I haven't monetized them yet, so it's just like I'm not. Well, I can't monetize them yet because I don't have enough subscribers.
Not enough subscribers. So please subscribe to Jimmy.
Yeah, and honestly, the Crime and Memorial one, I only just today put up the 5th video. Now, the Scare Salon one has more because that was been up for a month longer. But like I said, I'm doing good, like keeping stuff, putting 2 new videos up every week.
Yeah.
And I'm working on Thursday's video today. I got to record it tomorrow.
Also wanted to give some information to my boy Louis Hernandez. He's fucking, over the years, he's sent us fucking some of the best movies. Some of these movies I've never even seen before, fucking, and he'll send me, and I go, well, it's coming from Louis, so I know this shit's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's got like excellent taste.
Yeah, he's got good taste, and it fucking turns out like some of my favorite movies, you know. Anyway, Louis, you sent me
The Untouchables.
The Untouchables
from 1987.
I couldn't get it to play in the Xbox, and then I looked at it and went, well, of course, it's 4K.
Yeah.
It's 4K, so it won't play. We don't have a 4K television.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. I think Xbox can probably download a 4K player as an app, but the problem is I don't have a 4K television. But don't worry, we're going to review it anyway because one, it comes with a digital copy if I have to go that route, but it's also on HBO Max.
And I have HBO Max through my phone plan.
We'll just watch it on HBO Max, and you'll get your review. If you guys buy me a movie, you know, especially, you know, he sent me a 4K fucking steelbook. I was like, okay, you're gonna get a review. All right, we're gonna watch that. That gets moved to the front.
I mean, we still got to do Godfather 2 and Godfather 3.
Got to do Godfather 2 and 3.
We haven't got around to it.
There's so much shit we got to watch, man. But yeah, remind me about that. We'll do Godfather 2.
Yeah, but we'll do the Untouchables tomorrow. Well, because like I said, after we discovered that the disc wouldn't play because we don't have the we don't have the 4K TV. Yeah, because I was like, it's a brand new disc. I was like, there's nothing wrong with it. So
sitting there looking at the back, and
but
it's like,
that's
man, this thing's perfect. And then it said 4K, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on, that's not Blu-ray. And I'm looking, it doesn't have any Blu-ray symbols. Is there another? No, it's just 4K, and I can't play it yet. We don't have a 4K television, but it'll go in with the collection. All with the other ones. Eventually, we'll get a 4K television,
and then we can watch all the stuff. But like I said, it's on HBO Max, so we can watch it tonight on HBO Max.
Usually, when I buy Blu-rays or DVDs, it's to go into a hard copy collection. This is like a collection, like a library.
He has a big thing in his man cave. That's all.
Yeah, right.
All
and
movies.
Most of them I won't watch again, or if I do watch it, it's years later. But watching them is not really what I'm doing. I'm kind of like storing up all my best movies.
He's curating them.
I'm curating them for safety. You know what I mean? Like a seed in Noah's Ark. In case the fucking world ends, I got that shit on fucking hard copy. We'll watch it again. That kind of stuff. But no, I like to collect things, and I like to collect real good movies, ones that I like. The other ones that are kind of iffy, I'll trade those out or sell them or whatever. But the good ones, yeah, I keep them. And I got a whole fucking big cabinet
shelf of lots
yeah.
I'm kind of the same way with books.
Yeah.
As you can see,
she's got all kinds of books. Yeah.
Moving's a bitch, you guys. But
moving's a bitch.
I mean,
I had to move a lot of damn books. 1,000 pounds of books, at least.
It had to be like 1,000 pounds.
Several thousand.
Probably, but it's probably like a ton. It wouldn't surprise me.
She's got book cabinets in here that are sagging under the weight.
I know. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, I will absolutely read ebooks, and I do, because I have to read a lot of books for my book review show. So I'm just like, well, I can't afford to buy all these books, much as I might like to. So I'm like, I'm gonna Kindle Unlimited, man. Like, what do you have on there for free? Like ebooks. But even then, like, I will read ebooks, but I always prefer like having a book.
Yeah.
I really like having like the physical copy. So over the years, I have bought 50 bajillion million books, and you would be shocked, but I think 98% of every book in here I have read at least once.
Xanadu, the Desert Fox, is out there. He's been an online friend for a long time. I helped him with his AR-15 builds and stuff. And he's living out in the damn fucking desert of America. I think he lives in Nevada or Utah. I forgot which one it was. But or Arizona. I think it's Arizona. But he's asking me to watch Old Country.
No Country for Old Men. That's a great fucking
I saw
movie.
it, but it was been a while. I don't remember much about it. So yeah, if somebody sends it to me, it will go to the front. It'll go to the front of the line. But I got other shit that people paid for reviews for. Got to hit that first. I remember it being pretty good, but I also remember that I wasn't really paying real close attention to it. I think I started to
That's
like it.
That's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I started liking it after it had already begun. And I was like, well, wait, hold on, what's going on? I just got to see it again.
I love that movie. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times at this point. It's just I never get tired of it. It's so good. Blockrock said, "Oh, if you two need any of the later Haunting episodes, I have everything up to season 7. I think we have everything up to season 6 or 7, maybe.
Well, no, some of them I have. Let me go see how many.
Like I said, I bought him a box set that was the first 4 seasons, and then I bought him separate seasons like on TV, because after a while they didn't do box sets anymore, because by that point, like, you know, physical media had kind of started going out the window. So I bought him season 5 like individually, I think, and then I bought him season 6. I think I bought him season 7 too, but I don't really remember. He's gonna go look right now. But I think like the rest of them, we did watch them, but we don't have the physical copy. I think we have everything up to season 7 too, though. But usually, I mean, the first 4 seasons are the ones that we like watch the most.
We got the big box set.
Yeah, that's 1 through 4, right? I remember buying that.
Then I got that's season 6.
That's season 6. I remember
and
that.
And this one just says 2012. Which one is that? Is that season 7?
The 2012 season. That's season 5.
5. So we got them all up. So
5 and 6. So we don't have season 7.
We don't have season.
I could have sworn I bought you season 7. I didn't tell you had to go check. I was just saying. I could have sworn that I bought you season 7, but maybe I didn't. Like, it was a long time ago. So we definitely have 1 through 6, but we may or may not have 7, and I'm not entirely sure. I think we've seen most of them up to, because we've watched some of the newer ones, we watched some of the newer ones when they were on, like when we used to watch cable, but you know what I mean. There was also a spin-off called Alaska Haunting. Oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Did they really have so many?
Yes, we got 7 too.
See, that's what I thought. Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy
the box
then.
Set and then 3 more seasons.
I'm not crazy.
And I think season 8 we checked, and season 8 was not available on.
Yeah, I think after season 7 they didn't offer them as physical media anymore. Like, you can buy them.
They might now.
Well, no, I mean, you can buy them through iTunes, or you can watch them on. I think you can watch them on Pluto.
They might offer them on DVD now.
Maybe.
That was a long time ago.
That's true.
That was a long time ago we checked.
That's true.
If somebody could check for us and drop it in the comment section.
Santa said he's going to send No Country for Old Men.
Okay, yeah, if you send that, I'll watch it.
I love that movie. Seriously, it's really good. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Coen brothers. Like, every movie of theirs that I've seen, I've really, really liked.
I'll do a review and an analysis. I know what you want to hear. You want to know how if the gunplay was correct. You want to know about the guns. I'll tell you about the guns.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that the movie is kind of about, I mean, it has like a lot of deeper themes, and I think that you might like kind of be about like fate and aging and stuff like that.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I think you might like really be into it.
Yeah.
And it has like a really good villain. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Really good villain.
I was also we reviewed Prey the other day, and went and thought about it, and then I watched fucking Carl Benjamin's analysis of it. And I wanted to come back in and say, yeah, man, Pookie's fucking running up and down.
I know, that's what I was like, was that Pookie?
She was jumping over the fucking thing and everything. She's jumping now.
We don't call her Herd of Buffalo for nothing.
If you haven't seen Prey, go ahead and see it. That's the best you're going to get from Hollywood nowadays. It's not perfect, but if you do see it with the Cherokee dub.
No, it's Comanche.
The Comanche dub. The Comanche dub sounds a lot better. And the Comanches that are in it, when they start talking in English, I mean, it's California. You can tell those fuckers are from California. And it was okay, but it kind of didn't feel very authentic. But in Comanche, it sounded a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, it is dubbed, which is always a little bit distracting, but I get it was a lot more immersive, like you said. Well, the thing about it is that, as far as I know, like, all the actors in there were Native American, but just, I don't know if any of them were Comanche, though. Like, I know that the lead girl was Sioux, but I don't really know what tribe the other ones were.
What Carl brought up, though, and he was absolutely right, he said it still kind of lost some visual authenticity, because when you look at them, they are definitely modern people. If you put them up against Native Americans of the era, they were a lot harder. looking. You know what I mean? Because they were
living. But, what
they
are
were
you
living
do?
in the wild, and they were just.
I just appreciate that they actually got Native American actors to play Native American characters.
Yeah. I just wish they would have made those motherfuckers work out some and get them rougher looking, and because if Predator 1 was a fucking masterpiece, and we're just waiting for people to show up, so we're just filling some time here. Predator 1 was a masterpiece because all those dudes in that movie were either ex-soldiers or some kind of professional athlete. They actually, people say, oh man, they're jacked, they look like bodybuilders. No, mercenaries wouldn't look like that. They take roids. They take all kinds of... Special Forces dudes were taking roids. They didn't get that big, some of them, but Arnold wasn't that big. But no, they looked like they were comfortable because they were the real thing. It felt... Predator 1 is an authentic movie. And the script was written by infantry guys that slipped that underneath the fucking door of a damn studio. And they went, yeah, we'll make that. And what it was, evidently, was some infantry guys were out in the field training, and they said, man, what if we were out here doing this training and some alien hunter was fucking hunting us down? They were inspired by a movie called Without Warning, where that was happening. An alien was hunting people.
That's on Shudder. We should probably review that.
You got to review it, right? It's actually not a bad movie for a low budget movie.
I remember liking it.
And that's what inspired him.
Is it Charles Band though?
I think so.
The same guy that did Trancers.
I think so.
Which was
it might have been
not great.
So the Predator 1 had an authenticity to it. Prey is good. That's the best you're going to get. It has problems, but that's the best you're going to get right now. It's just because the people making them are soft. They're soft. Just how it is. But they did, I think, it is okay. It's okay. I liked it. It was a lot better than The Predator. Even though I liked elements of that one. It was a mixed bag. It was good shit and bad shit mixed together. Predator 2 is okay. I liked AVP 1 and 2. I thought those were really good. And I really liked Predators, the one where they were on the fucking hunting planet. I thought that was really good. Not perfect, but really good.
Lockfrog says, your cat looks just like mine.
Yeah.
Is your cat also a Manx? Or does your cat have a tail?
Little pot-bellied Manx,
because our kitty is a little, we sometimes call her all ball because she does kind of.
Yeah,
she's very
everything is round.
She's very round.
Yeah.
She has a little pouch. Well, she has. You call it a pot belly. I call it her pouch.
Yeah.
And she has little bitty short legs, and her little stumpy tail that she wags like a little puppy dog.
Evidently, there's a spin-off called Alaska Haunting.
Yeah, I know. I already addressed that.
Oh, did you? Okay. It must have been running out there. Yeah.
Danny Rowling said, stalked by an evil predator. Yeah, that's pretty much where this is going, I guess. So, all right, can we, talk about the actual topic now, or what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We're ready. There's enough people there.
Oh, Fuzz has a tail. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Pookie does not have a tail, because she's a Manx. She's a stumpy Manx. And I thought that was, just a made-up, mean term, but that's actually technically what they're called. Because there are three kind of Manx. There's actually Manx that have a tail. Then there's Manx with no tail at all, just a little round butt. And then, you have the stumpy Manx, which is what she is, where the tail is just a little stump, like an inch. So that's what she is. All right, so this is Stalked by Evil. We're Stalked by Evil, Season 4, Episode 10. Now, I don't know. I'm not encouraging anybody to go look this up. But I was kind of curious about the history of this house and where exactly this house was. I will admit that the house they used on the show, it's obviously not the real house, but it's similar to the houses in the neighborhood, because I did Google Earth that shit and do the street view and all that. Now, according to some random motherfucker on Pinterest, they took a picture of the real house. And they said, and I don't know if this is true or not, they said the real house, they didn't give the address, but they said it was in the 1200 block of Hayward Drive. And this is in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, I went on Google Street View, and I looked all along Hayward Drive. It's not very long. It's just a little curved road like that with a dead end, or a cul-de-sac at the end. And so I went, and I couldn't match the house the houses that I saw, like I looked at all of them and I couldn't match it to the picture, but it could just be because the picture was old and like maybe one of the trees that was in the front was cut down and it got painted or something like that, because all the houses kind of look the same. So I don't really know if that's exactly the street that the house is on, but that's what I heard, because there wasn't a huge amount of supplemental material about this particular case. Nobody wrote a book about it. There was nothing like that. So, but the house apparently is on Hayward Drive in Corpus Christi. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the person on Pinterest said. So this story took place in 2005. Now, this is about the McCarthy family. Now, they had been living in Corpus Christi in like a little bitty apartment. And what ended up happening, they bought, or actually, I don't even think they bought it. I think they rented it because they said they were talking to a landlord later on. So I guess they decided to like rent a bigger house, like in the same town. Now, the mom, Judy, she's a stay-at-home mom. And she has a husband named John, who's like some kind of like diesel mechanic, like supervisor or something like that. And then they have a 17-year-old daughter named Caressa. And also, she has a grown daughter named Lisa Lambert, who has a son of her own named Jacob. Okay? So everybody like figured that out, like all the fucking flowchart of the family? All right.
Yeah.
Now, what ended up happening, one of the things that necessitated the move from the apartment to this bigger house, Lisa, the grown daughter, she got laid off. She was like a human resources recruiter or something like that. So she had been living, she was a single mom, and she was living with her son Jacob, who looked like, I don't know how old he was at the time. In the show, he looked like he was probably 11, 12. How like that kid look? I think he was like 11 or 12. He looked like a preteen. So she lost her job, and she was like, okay, well, I'm broke ass now. And so she ended up having to move in with John and Judy, who were her parents.
Her parents. So she brought the boy.
Yeah, and so she had to bring the boy. She's like, not permanently, but like temporarily.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, until she could get another job and like get a place of their own. So they had moved into the apartment, I think, and had been sleeping on the floor. So the parents are like, yeah, fuck this noise. We're going to get a bigger house. So they got a bigger house because the apartment they've been living in was only 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And I can imagine how that was like a big fucking nightmare. So they moved to this new house. Now, Caressa, the same 17-year-old girl, she's super into the new house, just like it's in the same school district. So she doesn't have to change schools or anything like that. And apparently there was like an addition to the living room. So Lisa, the grown daughter, and her son like had kind of their own little area that could be kind of like closed off from the rest of the house. So they still kind of had their own like privacy, and they liked that. Now there was also, they kind of brought this up on the show, and I thought that it was going to factor more into stuff. I guess it factors a little bit into it, but not so much. So they had this whole thing where Judy was hanging up this little lantern, and it had belonged to her dad, who had passed away several years previously. And she just like hung it in the living room, and she's like, it was very special to her because I guess her and her dad used to go fishing when she was a kid. And like I said, he had died and she got this lantern. So she hung it like in the living room. Like I said, I thought something was going to happen with that lantern later on, but it didn't really. But they did kind of make a big deal about like this lantern or whatever. Now, much like a lot of other episodes of A Haunting, and I wonder if they pick and choose because the family dynamic is always kind of like this, because it always seems like the dad of the family is always like, he's like never home. Like he always like works super long hours, or he works night shifts. And that is indeed the case in this. Like the dude is just never there. I don't know if they write that into the show because the dude didn't want to be on the show, because he's not interviewed. The mom is, and the daughter is. Actually, both daughters are. The grown daughter and the younger daughter. They both got interviewed, and the mom did as well. But nobody else. Like, not the dad, not the kid, not the little boy kid, not anybody else. So maybe they just kind of, like, wrote him out of the shit. I don't know. Because they kind of made him look like a dick on this show. Maybe he was a dick. I don't really know. But so, just like in most of these, the dad is just like, I don't think he works the night shift, but he's gone a lot. You know what I mean? Like he leaves early in the morning, and he's just like, works all day. So there's that kind of thing. Now, the first thing that happens, so there's one morning where, okay, I'm kind of confused by this. So like everybody had left the house for either work or school, except Caressa, I think. But so Judy, she's a stay-at-home mom, so she's still at home, and she's like cleaning up after breakfast or whatever the fuck. And she said that she heard very clear footsteps, like kind of clomping through the house. Now she said, and this is a quote from the show, she said, it was a hard step like a man walking with boots on. Like she heard somebody clomping through the house with boots on. Now she thought her husband had forgotten something and like came back to the house. And then she looks all around the house and nobody's there. Now, originally, I thought absolutely nobody was in the house, but it turns out that Caressa was still in the house at this point because I guess she was like scrambling around, like trying to get ready to go to school, and she was going to be late and blah, 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 because there was some other shit that happened here too. So, it's not clear. I don't think she heard whatever footsteps there were. I don't know if it was her. Who knows? Now, one of the things that she said was that she lost her compact. You know what I mean? The little thing with the powder in it, like we put in makeup on. And she's like rushing around looking for it because, you can't go to fucking school shiny. I get that. So she's running around looking for it. She's like, I just had the shit and it's not here. So she's looking all over. And then she said she looked all over the house freaking out. And then she comes back into the bathroom where she just was. And she's like, and it was sitting right there, like on the edge of the sink. She said it looked like it had been left there deliberately for me to find it. Because she's like, it absolutely was not there before because I had just come out of there.
That's classic poltergeist phenomenon. RSPK. What she's describing. Is this a poltergeist? I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't really totally... I'll talk about it at the end of the program. But haunting usually doesn't have that. Most hauntings, nothing is actually physically moved. You just see apparitions, figures, hear voices. Nothing ever moves. So something moving, I lean towards poltergeist.
Or like disappearing and then reappearing.
Appearing and disappear. Yeah. And usually
which we've had that happen.
Yeah. You usually don't see it in flight, although sometimes you do. You don't see it moving. It's just in one place and you turn around and it's somewhere else. Or something disappears and then you find it in an impossible place. Like it was meant for you to find it. Like something was sending you a signal. That's poltergeist. But I'm going to get into it later. Steve Maris says that sometimes hauntings can do that. But like he said, he's never seen that himself. It's just based upon witness testimony. All this is theory, based upon witness testimony. And testimony's hard to sift through.
Well, because it's subjective.
It's subjective. You know what you saw. You know what people around you see. It's hard to really get nailed down what somebody else saw a long time ago in a place far away. You're just reading stories,
Yeah.
So it's different. But there are patterns. There's patterns to those stories. Even though not all those stories are true. Once you know the pattern, you can fake them. You can fake a story. There's a lot of problems in parapsychology because of that. An expert can fake a story, just pull it out of nowhere.
Yeah, because like the parameters.
You know the parameters.
You know what can be.
Yeah, you know
what
to lie about.
usually happens in these.
Yeah, you know what to lie about.
Danny Rolling said, "Quick question: what's the Michael Caine film where he asks, is he fucking you?" That's The Hand.
That's The Hand.
That's The Hand.
That's The Hand.
From,
was he fucking you?
Yeah. What was that? 1981, right? He asked earlier, but I think it got retracted. He's like, let me guess, they had like an overweight psychic played by a not overweight actress. Actually, in this one, the psychic was skinny because they actually had the real... I mean, she wasn't a psychic. She just ran a paranormal thing. She didn't claim to be psychic or anything. And actually, in this case, like the actress that got to play her looked a lot like the actual woman.
This is one of the better episodes.
And she was actually like thin. Yeah. She wasn't fat. But I know what you're talking about.
This is one of the better episodes. This is an episode that stood out to me. And once I
had forgotten about it, but then once we started watching it, I remembered
it was one of the three that we have on the list that's been requested. And then when I went, oh yeah, that one. When I looked at it and saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like towards the top. This is cream of the crop. This case.
Yeah. And like I said, it was one of the 5 that I had written down that you guys had recommended, and it was just the first one that we pulled out. And
the episode is good.
Yeah.
It's eerie. The way they filmed it and the way they set it up. Like, look, a haunting is... This isn't what you do research with. You know what I mean? This is... The haunting was a series to tell you about cases of what supposedly happened, and then they presented it in a really entertaining way. It was fucking spooky.
Yeah, they just wanted it to be spooky.
Right. But it's kind of on you to go through the details of what actually happened. Because a haunting's pretty good at sticking to certain things, but they took liberties here and there.
I mean, they just want it to be like a creepy, entertaining show.
Right.
If the shit that you described is too boring,
they're gonna ramp it up.
Then they're gonna like gilded the lily a little bit.
They're gonna take some artistic license.
Sure. Blockbrook said, "I'd love for you two to review Fear House." That's an episode 2, right? Okay, yeah.
I think Fear House is the one where they kept seeing the damn clown. I think.
Man, I don't want to be seeing
Fear
any
House.
fucking clowns in my house. Get the fuck out.
I think that's one where they saw the clown.
Fucking clowns.
Well, that might have been Hell House. They all have similar names.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, sometimes if you tell me the name of the episode, I'm like, I can't remember which one that one is. Unless you tell me, hey, it was the one that took place in this city where they had this and that, then I'll remember. But they have such generic titles.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. In the episode, they showed an evil clown, but they didn't really make it clear whether or not they reported it as a clown.
They said, yeah, the clown freaked me out. That's what I mean. It might have been, maybe that episode came out around the time of that whole, like, ooh, we're seeing clowns, like people dressed as clowns kind of scare.
Yeah, because sometimes you go back into the case and look at it. It says the witnesses never said anything about a clown, but they would put that shit in there. I don't remember we don't know. We haven't investigated it yet. I'm just saying that Haunting would do that kind of shit. They'd put some stuff in there.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I know, like I said, and I think I brought this up before, but it's just kind of like, I know that they probably do hours and hours of interviews with the witnesses, and then they kind of just edit it down to whatever. So I don't know how much of the interviews that they use, that they don't show them saying it, but then they do, like, then they'll show, like, whatever it is. Because I said sometimes they'll show, like, a reenactment, and there'll be like a ghost like walking behind the person. And I'm like, yeah, but they didn't say they saw that though.
Right, they just put that in.
They just put that in.
Before I forget, go ahead and like the video, people. That'd really help us out. Like and interact. Thank you.
Nicholas says The Presence is one of my favorite episodes. It's really creepy. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna write that one down too. Like I said, I got a list that's ongoing. So we have, I think, 4 or 5 on there now, and then this is probably 6 and 7 or 7
you're
and
helping
8.
us out. You're helping us out, people, so we can order. The popular ones.
Right. So like I said, we're making a list. So if we don't get to it like next week, we'll eventually get to it. We're going to get to all the ones that got
And if you guys want us to fucking review classic ones, if you want us to go back and do Summer Wind again, Summer Wind might be good to reformat it. I don't fucking know, but we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. I'm open to redoing one of the older ones. That was a long time ago. The recording quality wasn't that good, and we could probably pull up more on it now.
I mean, we did a couple shows on Summerwind though, because we had that guy on that was like on the Summerwind, like they were trying to like raise all the money to get it rebuilt or whatever. Because remember,
that's right. He wanted to rebuild Summerwind on the old fucking
yeah. All right, so Caressa said that she couldn't find her compact, and then she looked everywhere for it, and it wasn't anywhere, and then all of a sudden she goes back in the bathroom, and it's sitting there again. So she was weirded out by that. Now, over the next few days or weeks or whatever, Caressa said that she started feeling really uneasy in her room at night, like someone was watching her, like specifically like from her closet. So because of this, she can't really get any sleep, so she's kind of like always tired, and she's getting like kind of cranky all the time, which, like I said, I feel that. Now, one morning, after everybody has left for work or school or whatever, Judy is in the living room, and the TV keeps turning on by itself, and like not just turning on by itself, but like actually flipping through channels. Yeah. The hilarious thing, and I remember, I don't think I brought this up on one of the other episodes, but another episode that we talked about did this too, that the TV was coming on by itself, and I was like, oh, how funny that every single show that it's flipping to has the same narrator. As Haunting, whose name is Anthony Call, by the way.
He's motherfucker's now a legend.
He's got a great fucking voice. Yeah. Well, because he does, I think he does some like true crime shows too, on Investigation Discovery or whatever.
We started talking about we started talking about this a few weeks back. There were people in the damn chats that knew his name.
Yeah. I knew his name because I just saw it, well, I mean, through the course of like doing research about these shows, and I also found out that there's a soundtrack for every season that has all the scores from like every single episode. And I even saw a picture of the guy. He didn't look anything like I expected, but they never do.
His voice is on par with Keith David.
That's what I mean. He's got a great fucking voice. Yeah. And like I said, I think
Keith David from The Thing, Dude from The Thing, that motherfucker's voice is badass. Did all this true crime all the true crime voiceovers. Keith David was the shit, man. And as a kid watching the thing, I never would have thought that dude would have ended up doing voiceovers for true crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't think like that, He's just this fucking tough motherfucker, It's just.
Well, like I said, and Anthony Call, who does this show, I'm pretty sure he does. It's not Cold Case Files. What's that other one? God damn it! It was one that I think it's on Investigation Discovery, but it's been on for a long time. But it's like a true crime show, and he does so that it's funny because they'll show like, hey, he's flipping through the channel. I'm like, hey, this one also has Anthony Call narrating it. Well, because that's what they have the rights to, I guess. So it's just kind of like they're just floating. So I just thought that was kind of funny. So anyway, so Judy, the TV comes on and it keeps flipping through channels. She's like, oh, that's weird, and so she thinks that it's maybe something to do with the remote control, like maybe the remote control is broken, or maybe it needs some new batteries or something like that. So she changes the batteries out. Now, a few weeks apparently go by and nothing weird happens. Although they did say, they kind of like smoothed it over, saying eerie sounds continue to echo through the house. That's what it said. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like footsteps or knocking or whatever the hell. So, like I said, John, the husband, is like hardly ever around. He's always at work, like he's usually working late, so he's not usually around, but the rest of the family is usually there. So one night, Judy and Caressa and Lisa and Jacob are sitting in the dining room, like at the dining room table, playing cards, and then they start hearing these weird noises coming from Caressa's room, which is like down the hall. Now, at first, they don't really think that much about it. Like, they assume, oh, it's just an old house and it's settling. That's what they always say. There's a big difference between, like something settling and, like, sounded like some motherfucker's in there. I mean, this sounded like some motherfucker was in there. So the sound keeps going. So they're like, okay, well, we better go back there and see what the fuck's going on. Maybe somebody, like, crawled in the window or some shit. They said it sounds like somebody's in there. So they go in the room and nobody's in there. But the closet door, which is actually not like a single door, but it's like a double door that slides, it's open. Now, they don't think this is all that weird, but Caressa is like, I always close that closet door. Always, always, always. I did not leave it open. Now, of course, they don't believe her. They're just kind of like, oh, maybe you just forgot and left it open, or maybe the wood is warped and it just slid open by itself or some shit like that. And she's just probably like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure I closed it. She was like absolutely sure she closed it, but they didn't believe her. So after that, apparently like a few weeks went by without anything weird happening. So Lisa gets a new job, and so they're very excited. It's like, oh, her and Jacob are going to be able to like move out and go back out on their own again. So because she got a new job, they decide, ooh, they're going to have a party that evening. So they have champagne and they're having like a big party or whatever. Now, a few hours after that, after pretty much everybody has gone to bed, Lisa also sees the TV turning on by itself and flipping through the channels too. So then Judy, the mom, comes out and says, yeah, that shit was doing that the other day. That's like super weird. And it's like, I thought it was the remote, and so I changed the batteries, but that didn't do jack.
All right, now for context, this is real low-level phenomenon. I'm old as fuck, okay? And as an old poltergeist fucking focus from fucking when I was a teenager, if I get ramped up, like back in the old house, I get the TV to turn on. Remember that? That went on it was during the time we were writing that book.
Yeah,
the TV turned on to a lot, but it was...
At the house we lived in before this one, that fucking TV used to come on all the
to a
time.
Screensaver. It would just stay on the screensaver. And it would just come on regularly. And then
once
it
every few days.
It went on every few days for a few months. It did that.
I would get up in the morning and go out in the living room, and the TV was on.
One time the TV turned on in the bedroom we were in.
Yeah, but usually it was the living room.
Usually it was the living room one, though.
For whatever reason.
And when the TV guy came, I complained about it. He had no idea what I was talking about. He says, that's not possible. And so the TV keeps turning on to the fucking screen.
Well, when it first started happening, I was like, maybe Pookie is sitting on the remote, like with her butt and turning it on with her butt. But I was just like, I don't think she'd be doing that. And it happens so often that I was like, there's no way that Pookie
and then
is
and then it stopped dead. Yeah. And stopped doing it. And then that was around the time it pulled the things down and fucking was opening doors and ringing the fucking doorbell outside and opening the garage door. So it was all that same phenomenon, but it was very weak. So you've seen it. And that was before it threw the remote. You've seen it.
Yeah.
You just seen it when it was weak.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was a lot stronger.
So yeah, like to me, it wasn't really like scary. I was just kind of like, oh, neat. You know what I mean?
When it's real strong, you feel like somebody's watching you and just bearing down on you.
Yeah, well, that happens in this case as well.
Yeah.
Amanda Marie Serenity. Hey, Jenny and Tom, how are you? We're good. How are you doing? How you doing? They're talking about Herb Baumeister. Yeah, we did a review on that. We did a show on that.
We did a show on him already.
Yeah. Well, because that was like a serial killer and a haunting all wrapped up in one thing.
Yeah, which I may talk about that towards the end of this, because there are certain places, for the want of a better word, can become strong with the dark side. Yeah.
Well,
I feel stupid talking that way as an ex-soldier, but fucking Terrence Pops from fucking Redonkulous, who's ex-Special Forces guy, he commanded a unit who was in charge of fucking Abu Ghraib prison. After that fucking scandal happened, he and his unit took over that. And he said that place was haunted as fuck. And he's posted it. You can find it on. He can tell you what he saw. Him and a bunch of other guys. And Abu Ghraib prison was a fucking death camp. Saddam was murdering people there in mass. There were bones floating up to the top of the sand. And he said that they just sealed parts of it off. That was just where they were killing dudes in cells and making guys kill themselves in cells. And it was just a bad place. And you could feel it. And you could see things. Phenomenon. You could hear things. And I believe him. Yeah. But you can make a place that's strong with the dark side. You kill enough people in one spot, you do a bunch of evil in one spot, you'll leave a mark behind, as they say on The Shining, like burnt toast. What was his name?
Scatman Crothers.
Scatman Crothers, like burnt toast, it leaves a trace behind. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I think I mentioned when we did the Herb Baumeister show, I said, well, I don't know if I necessarily believe in haunted places, but if any fucking place is haunted, it's probably that place.
Yeah, you got
all the bad shit that happened there.
You got an evil, perverted motherfucker obsessing with these weird obsessions and sexual obsessions and strangling fucking dudes and shit in this one spot. And he's a sexual predator, and he's letting the bodies rot in certain places on the property. Yeah, that would do something bad to the fucking spiritual space-time continuum. Which would be like a temple, a sacrificial temple to the gods and weird shit like you'd have in Mesoamerica. That might have some strange phenomenon you might be able to produce. It's all theory. I've seen some of it. I haven't seen all of it. But just reading things. Star Wars full of shit, but based on real stuff. Based on Taoism and Buddhism and parapsychology. And Western philosophies all just kind of merging together. Yeah. Yeah, you have an OBE or an NDE, you'll see that life isn't what you think it is. This is kind of like a holographic universe. But shit, whatever. Go ahead, Jen.
Thank you.
The universe is weirder than you think it is. Reality's weird.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where was I? Okay, so, so Lisa sees the TV turning on by itself. Judy comes out and said, yeah, that's like weird as shit. That was doing that the other day. And then so both of the women are like, this shit's probably haunted. And the first thing that they thought was maybe this is just the ghost of Judy's dad, the guy with the lantern. That's pretty much the only other reference they made to the lantern. I don't know why they made such a big deal about it. But like I said, the lantern belonged to Judy's dad. So they're like, okay, maybe it's just the ghost of dad or grandpa or whatever. And he's just like keeping an eye on us. Although Lisa made the very salient point of, it's like, well, if he was going to haunt us, why didn't he start doing it like a long time ago, when he actually died? Because I don't know how many years he'd been dead at this point, but it seemed like it had been a while. So she's like, look, he's been dead a while. I don't know why he's just like now decided he wanted to haunt us. That's a little bit weird. So a few days after that, which I guess is like the following weekend, Judy decides she's going to take the kids to the mall. Now, Lisa, the grown daughter, she can't go with them because she's too busy, with work. Now, before they leave, Caressa, the 17-year-old daughter, is freaking out because, again, she had put her earrings that she was going to wear, down the dresser and then went to do something else. And then she came back and one of them had disappeared. And she couldn't ever find it. I don't think she ever found it. So she comes out and she's being like super bitchy about it. She's like, you know, everything's disappearing. Like I'm having all my stuff is disappearing and this never happened at the old house. And she's getting like real fucking aggro about it. Now, Judy said, and I kind of made a joke about this, but Judy said that Caressa's personality changed after they moved into the new house, that she got like constantly set off by minor things and that she'd never been like that before. And I was just like, well,
How
to
old
me,
is she?
17.
Yeah.
16, 17. I said, that just sounds like teenage girl syndrome. Well, and teenage boy syndrome, too. I mean, teenagers in general are just kind of like...
Well, it's a puberty thing, and that's prime time for poltergeist activity.
I mean, they're kind of assholes, and they're always just kind of like... They think everything is the end of the world. So it's like, my one earring disappeared. Everything is fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
it just sounds like poltergeist to me.
I mean, yeah. Now, so yeah. Now, after that, I don't even know if they went to the mall or not. It's not important. Now, later that night, at about 3 in the morning, Lisa, the grown daughter, she gets woken up by what she described as, she said it sounded like a man talking. And actually, this was my favorite part because this will, like, actually kind of creep me out. Because she's like, there's a shot of her and she's, like, laying in the bed and all of a sudden, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't even know what the guy said, but, because I can't hear all that good. But, and it woke her up and she's like, what the fuck?
Couldn't understand what he said.
Yeah, it was just, like, mumbling.
Yeah.
So that's good. I thought it was just me. I was like, because everybody talking sounds like the fucking drive-through thing at McDonald's.
And then she said she could never understand what they were saying.
Yeah. But she said, okay, so this voice like woke her up and she said it sounded legitimately like it was right outside of her window. Like there was a guy talking right outside her window. So she jumps up out of bed because it woke her up and she looks out the window and she's like, there's nobody there. And she's like, there is absolutely no way that anybody that was that close to the window, because she said he sounded like he was right there, would have had time to like run off without her hearing them or seeing them. You know what I mean? She's like, it wasn't kind of a thing where, because they weren't, it's not on the second floor, it's all a ground floor. Like if you see the house, it was just kind of like an old like 50s, it looked like a 50s style house, like 50s or 60s. So it was just like one story, like a, what do they call those? Like there's just those one.
Bungalow?
Yeah, well no. That's not exactly the word I was looking for. I'll think of it in a minute. But yeah, it was just kind of like, and like I said, if the house is actually on the street that this person on Pinterest said it was, I looked at all the houses on that street and they looked like late 50s, early 60s, like just one story.
Like a little tract house.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like that. Ranch house. Thank you. That's what it was. Like a ranch house. So it looked like that. So she said, you know, if there was somebody out there, you know, by the time I jumped up and looked out the window, I would have seen them like running away or heard them running away, and I didn't see anybody. Now, she said that once she was awake, she also smelled something. She said it smelled like something was burning in the living room. And so she goes out, like I said, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And so she goes out to check, but she doesn't see anything, like everything's fine. Now, Judy, the mom, had also been awakened, not by the voice, but she had been awakened by the burning smell. So they said they both smelled it.
Oh man, I gotta check the oven.
Oh yeah, okay.
Burning smell made me think of it.
Yeah, he's got like some pork cooking in the slow cooker. And he was just kind of like, oh shit, burning smell. I should probably go check on that. But yeah, I mean, it's probably fine. I think he put it on like really low for like an hour, but it'll be all right. So yeah, so Judy was awakened, she said, by the same burning smell that her daughter smelled. So she actually came out to the living room. She's like, yeah, it smelled like it was coming from out here. Now, Lisa said, hey, I heard a man talking like outside my window. So the two of them become like ever more convinced, man, this place is fucking haunted. And I don't think it's grandpa or dad in Judy's case. She's like, he wouldn't like fuck with us like this. It's like if this was dad and or grandpa, you know, he would talk to us directly. He would communicate directly. He wouldn't be pulling this kind of crap. So we're pretty sure it's somebody else. Now, at this point, like the husband, John, he gets up, or at least like the actor playing him. I don't know what the real guy was like because he wasn't on here. But so I don't know if he was this much of a douche. But anyway, so he gets up and he comes out and he's just like, I have to get up in 3 hours. And what the fuck are you? And they weren't even being loud. They were just like talking to one another, but whatever. So he gets up and he's like, I have to get up in 3 hours. What the fuck are you guys doing up here? You're keeping me awake, yada, yada. And he's a real dick about it. Now, at this point, like I said, neither John or the younger kid, like Jacob, have seen or heard anything as far as I know. Like I said, I don't know if it was just because they weren't on there, so they didn't have anything to report. But even like the little kid wasn't on there and didn't say he'd seen anything. So yeah, the guy was like, "Well, I'm going back to bed, and you should too." Blah blah blah, and he was just like that, and I'm just like, okay, special. So so nothing weird happens for the next couple days. And Lisa is just kind of like, whatever the fuck. And she just like starts forgetting about it. Now, Caressa, though, she said that this whole time she still senses something in her room, like watching her pretty much like all the time. She's like, it was everywhere, like everywhere she went in the house. But like in her room, it was like the most intense, she said. And because of this, she said like for probably a couple of weeks, she didn't get hardly any sleep. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, she thought somebody was watching her, like, particularly, like I said, from her closet. So she wasn't sleeping all that good, and she's getting, like, kind of cranky. Now, she starts leaving the light on at night. Like, maybe that will help. But she said the whole time I was in there, like, I'd be laying in bed, and I'd be, like, convinced that something was about to pop out that closet. She's like, that's pretty much what it felt like. Now, on some nights, she actually gets really scared, like, by the feeling, and she goes and sleeps in her parents' room. But again, her dad is like a real douche about it, and he's just like, you are too old to be sleeping in here. Why are you sleeping in your parents' room? And you're being irrational, and what are you crying about? That never solved anything, and yada, yada, yada. So there was that whole thing, too. So he was like not super supportive, obviously. So at this point, Judy is like, she's like, I believed her because I had, felt some shit, too. And she's like, but I didn't really know what to do to, like, protect her. So she's like, I did pretty much all I could think of to do. She's like, I knew that I had like a cross in the house someplace. She's like, it was with my Christmas decorations. And I don't know if, well, I'm assuming they didn't seem like a particularly religious family. Like they never called a priest at any point or anything like that, which is interesting because most families on this show will call a priest at some point, but they never did. I mean, she did have the idea maybe a cross would help. I don't know. So she goes and digs around in her Christmas decorations, which I thought was like kind of funny. But she finds like this kind of cheap ass looking like cross. She's like, I don't know if they used to hang it on their Christmas tree or some shit like that. And so she like puts it over Caressa's door, like the door to her bedroom. She's like, maybe this will help. Now Caressa at this point, because like I said, she was on the show, so they interviewed her, and she said, well, my dad was like, she didn't say this, but it was implied. Her dad was like yelling at her and didn't really like her sleeping in the room with the parents. So she's like, so I just tried to, even though I was like super scared, I was trying to sleep in my own room. And she did actually say this, and this is a quote. She said, I tried my hardest not to think about it. I felt like I had to be strong and tough it out. Because like I said, the dad was saying stuff like, quit your crying, that never helped anybody, blah, blah, blah. So she was just like, okay, well, I guess I got to sleep in here, even though it sucks. So this one particular night, though, she apparently hears the closet door slide open. Now, I think that this happened more than once. They implied that it happened more than once, although she didn't actually say that. But the way that they kind of like set it up seemed like it happened more than once. That she was always like hearing the closet door. Because like I said, she said she always closed the closet door, like when she was in the room. And it was like two sliding doors like that. So she said that she would hear it like sliding open a lot of times. And it sounded like someone was in there, like somebody was like fucking, like moving around in there, like with all the stuff. But she's like, she was always too scared to look, so she just lays there in bed like frozen, like not wanting to like look over at the closet. But this one particular night, she hears that noise and she's like, fuck this, I'm just gonna lay here and pretend it's not happening. But she said that suddenly she felt like there was like something like a really heavy weight on top of her, and she couldn't breathe. So she started like freaking out and like screaming and shit like that. Her mom, Judy, runs in and says, we'll give you some fresh air, I'll open the windows. But they didn't go into this a lot, but apparently like the windows in her room, I don't know about the rest of the house, had been nailed shut. So I don't know if the owners did that or if like a previous tenant had did that. And I don't really know. Like I said, they didn't go a lot into that. It was just kind of a thing where it's like, oh, the windows are nailed shut and I can't open them. And I was just like, well, can we explore like why that is, or no? But they never did. So she comes in and the mom comes in, tries to open the windows.
Some damage to the
that's what I mean.
Frame,
maybe.
Where you had to, or if you opened them, they'd fall out of the damn window frame or something.
Yeah.
Although there was another case where somebody who nailed the windows shut,
That's well,
the
see,
ghost
that's
kept
what,
opening them up.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe there wasn't any reason for it, and that's why they didn't bring it up. Because that's what I was remembering. That there was I don't remember what episode it was, but there was another episode where they moved in and all the windows were nailed shut, and then once they peeled all the, they pried all the nails out, then the ghost started like opening the windows. They're like, oh well, that's why the person nailed the window shut, obviously, because they were sick of them like opening all the time. So I can see that. But like I said, I don't know if that was the situation here. They just kind of went into it like, oh, all the windows in her room were nailed shut.
And the whole heavy weight, not being able to breathe, I didn't know if that was a euphemism of maybe sexual assault too. Let me go put some more ice in that.
Okay.
I didn't know if they were trying to say that what was happening was some kind of spiritual sexual
I mean, that was the impression that I got, but I don't really want to say that because I don't know if that's what was implied. Because what they did, she just basically said in her interview, she said, I felt like there was a weight on top of me and I couldn't breathe. Like she was gagging and choking and stuff like that. In the reenactment, they kind of just showed her like pinned to the bed with nobody there, but then they would do like flashes of like this creepy like old ghosty looking dude like laying on top of her. So I don't know if they were implying, I got the impression they were implying that this was like a sexual assault by a ghost situation, like the entity or something, but she didn't say that, so I don't really want to like put words in her mouth. So there's that. So yeah, so all that happens, and Judy is like starting to like really worry. So she takes Caressa actually to the doctor the next day because of the not being able to breathe kind of situation. Maybe there's something else going on. Now the doctor doesn't find anything physically wrong with her. And he thinks maybe you just had like a panic attack, because that's what it sounds like. Like when she describes the symptoms to him, he said it sounds like a panic attack. And she says, I don't know if she really told the doctor this in real life, but she's like, yeah, the shit's haunted and I'm not being able to like sleep or anything. Because he was asking if she'd been depressed, and she's like, well, not really, but I'm not getting a lot of sleep because my room's haunted, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So at this point, Judy is like kind of had enough. So she talks to the landlord. Like the landlord comes over to like fix some shit or whatever. And she's like, well, what, just hypothetically, like what would happen if we wanted to move out? And the landlord like immediately gets like super hostile and like aggro about it. It's like, if you break the lease, I'm suing you. And I was just like, dude,
that bitch had bills to pay, man.
I know that, but it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like she didn't say she was gonna move. She just said hypothetically, like what he just immediately jumps to, I'm gonna sue your ass. I'm like, okay, that's nice.
Let him know.
Settle down. Now at this point, like the husband and the landlord even says like on the show, talk to your wife. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. So John is like, we're not moving because you think there's a ghost, yada, yada, yada. So then like, so Judy is just like, yeah, but you're never here. So you don't know like what the rest of us are experiencing. So fuck off. You know what I mean? But she doesn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. I don't know if she said that or not. She should have probably. Okay. So a few days later, now this was kind of like that escalated quickly situation. So a few days later, Caressa is actually home from school, not because she can't sleep, but because she had a cold or something like that. So her and her mom are like in the kitchen, like cooking something or whatever. And then suddenly Caressa sees an apparition like it's behind her mom, and it's like in the living room. And she said, I mean, she didn't say this exactly, but she kind of implied that she had seen something like this. So it's apparently like a dude, and he's walking through the living room, and I couldn't tell if he like disappeared through the wall or disappeared down the hall toward where her bedroom was. So Judy turns around, and she apparently sees it too. And she actually did say on the thing, she's like, it's crazy, like thinking, oh, they had already come to the conclusion that the shit's haunted, but she's like actually seeing it, and she's like, and I actually saw him disappear. Like that's a whole other fucking level of fuckery at this point. So apparently both of them saw an apparition. They didn't describe it, so I don't really, I can't really speak to that, but they apparently did see something, and it freaked them the fuck out. Now, at this point, Judy is, like, panicking. She calls Lisa at work and says, we saw the shit. It's a dude, and we're getting the hell out of this house for a little while because fuck that. Which, like I said, I get it. If I saw that, I'd be, yep, I'm going to be out of here for a little while. So Lisa starts doing research to see if she can find someone to help them. And like I said, it's kind of refreshing on this one that they didn't immediately call a priest. Lisa ends up finding a woman named Margaret Prescott. Now, she had a paranormal research team. Like I said, she didn't say she was a psychic. It was basically just her and her son, and they just came in and did... They seemed like they did more scientifically based kind of shit.
Kind of like neo-parapsychologists.
Yeah, they seemed more into that kind of stuff. Yeah. She didn't say anything about psychics or feeling vibrations or nothing like that. I don't know if they mentioned it on the show, but I did find Margaret Prescott online, and the team is called Corpus Christi Spook Central. It's her and her son, like I said. Her son's name is Monty, I believe. So Lisa finds them and arranges them to come out, like, ASAP. Now, that night, Judy tells her husband, John, about, hey, these paranormal investigators are coming over. And then they kind of, like, glided over. I don't know if he was, like, okay with it. Maybe it got to the point where he's just like, she's like, look, we're doing this shit because I think maybe we're in danger and we actually saw some stuff. And he was going to be going out of town anyway. So maybe he's just like, whatever. I don't really know how that worked out. The kid, Jacob, who didn't even really factor into this, he goes to stay at a friend's house. As far as I know, the kid... Like I said, he was 11 or 12. I don't think he ever saw anything. He wasn't on the show, so I don't know. I can't really, elaborate on that because he wasn't really a part of the thing. So at this point, Margaret, the paranormal investigator, and her son Monty, they come in and they meet with the family. And they set up all the cameras, like, all around the house, concentrating mostly on Caress's room because that seemed like where most of the activity was taking place. And Monty, like, sets up his whole, like, viewing station / command central, whatever, like, out in the garage. And then they tell the family, look, you guys need to, like, leave the house for a while, like, while we're doing the investigation so that anything we pick up, we know that it's not y'all. Like, we know that it's, that it's maybe paranormal and not, like, humans, like, fucking around or whatever. So they set up a bunch of, like, infrared cameras, digital tape recorders. They're, like, looking to get EVPs and shit like that. Now, apparently, while they were finished getting set up, and they're in the garage, like, making sure all the cameras are working because they have, like, all the monitors or whatever, the camera in Caress's room, which was on a tripod, moves by itself, apparently. Like, it was just kind of like, whoop, we're going to film over there now. Margaret is like, what the fuck happened there? So she's like, I'm going to go in the room and check on that and put it back where it goes. Now, she said when she went into Caress's room, she got the distinct feeling that whatever or whoever was in the house really didn't want them there and really did not want the cameras there either. Now, she's pretty much like, and this is a quote from the show, it says, she knows that any ghost who can move something, like, is powerful enough to hurt people, you know what I mean? So she's kind of like, well,
that's what I thought at the time.
Like, this is not, yeah, and that, it's funny when they said that on the show. Yeah. It was like, I thought of you, because they're like, anybody that can just, like, move shit around like that, right. I mean, they could easily kill you if they wanted to. They just, like, drop a concrete block on your head.
Yeah, that reminds me, that's what Uncle Red said. He said, for all we know, man, this thing could put something on the top of a door jamb, so when you open it up, it'll fucking drop on you.
Yeah.
It never did anything like that, though. It didn't touch anybody but Lois. She said she felt it grab her around the leg and go up her waist. She said it was a weird, like a snake coiling up around her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it never touched me. I'd have fucking lost it.
Yeah, that'd be, like, pretty fucking weird.
Yeah. She said it came out of the floor, wrapped around her leg, and went up and then around her waist and fucking like it jumped off. She said like an invisible snake.
Gross.
Imagine that. Said it was cold. She could feel the pressure of it, though. Man.
Now that you're talking about it, maybe that's going to happen.
Yeah, I saw it happen. She was like, oh my God, whoa, 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 that was, oh man. You're like, whoa. She was like that. And Red was standing right there. What happened? She was, it came up out of the floor. It got me. And I was losing it. I was like, no way. No way.
Yeah, Tom was very high strung as a child.
Yeah, I was like, no way. So, no way.
Which is probably what caused the whole poltergeist situation.
And that was after it threw the pillows. It was right after the throw the pillows. Threw the pillows and threw the fucking blanket off, threw the comforter off. Weird shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't see that. There was shit I didn't want to see.
Well, like I said, if you were the one that was initiating it, which you probably were, you pretty much laid down the parameters at first. You're like, do what you want, but I don't want to see you, and I don't want you to touch me.
And it never did.
And it never did.
No.
Well, like I said, because it was you doing it, I think.
Yeah.
So that's probably.
I didn't know at the time, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a certain facet of your subconscious doing it, like a character out of one of your dreams doing it. You can't control the characters in your dreams. There's certain facets of you that you don't control really well, which is why when it kind of came back, Dimitri saw it, and fucking his wife saw it. He goes, "Tom, do it again." I was like, no. I had to stop it I had to stop the ball rolling. I could feel the ball started rolling again because I don't really trust myself.
I don't trust you either. Like I said, you're gonna like drop some shit on my head one day and smush me. You already like made that fucking fly off. Some of those
other kind of like facets of my personality aren't good. You know what I mean? They're like the fucking.
I should start wearing a helmet and like armor.
It doesn't come out. I told fucking Sophie. I said, you know, Sophie listens to the show. She's been on the show. She's gonna come back and visit us one of these days. But I said, yeah, one of them in there is kind of like Venom, and it fucking hates me. Like that thing, you know. And she goes, she told me privately, she's like, yeah, I had that same one. She's there's a part of me that fucking hates me. Yeah,
I mean, I have that part too. Yeah. I don't think it's quite as extreme as Venom, but I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, it not only does it hate me, it wants to kill me. All right, another one is kind of reminded me of fucking Mr. Hyde from fucking the show The Mummy. You know, when fucking Russell Crowe, after he threw all those phones.
Well, man, you throw one phone.
And
Tom will never let you forget
it. You see that phone, I fucking got mad respect for fucking Russell Crowe. But that when Russell Crowe was playing the fucking Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Mr. Hyde started talking, it was fucking familiar. It was like, yeah, that's kind of like the other facet in me that's just like lust for power and chaos. I know that one too. So I don't trust these things with psychic abilities.
You need to settle down, Tom.
Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, they'll love us." You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want that because I don't know which one is doing the psychokinesis though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is why I don't like. Man, me and Pookie are gonna have to get a bunker. Or something.
It's never hurt anybody, so it must not be as bad as those.
Yet.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. So yeah. Russell Crowe in the Road Rage film was epic. I really did like that.
It was good, yeah.
What was it called? Unhinged, I think it was.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
I had a good time.
I need that in my collection.
It was like so over the top, but it was so great. I mean, it was over the top on purpose. Okay, so the paranormal investigator Margaret, she said if it can move a camera like that, then it could fuck you up if it wanted to. And she says on the show, she said, I just had the feeling that there was something inside the closet in Caressa's room, and it wasn't very nice. That's what she said. So she tries, perhaps unwisely, I'm not sure, but she wants to provoke the ghost because she wants to get some EVPs. She wants to prove that there's something in here. So she basically starts, I don't know, she wasn't like being aggressive toward him, but she was basically like, why are you in this house? Like, why are you tormenting this family? Prove that you're in here, like move something. She's, you know what I mean? So she's trying to like call it out. And she says like, show yourself to me. Now, while she's sitting in there on the bed, like looking at the closet, now she doesn't see anything, but her son Monty, who's in the garage watching the cameras, like watching the monitors, he said, well, I don't know if he said, but they said this on the show, that apparently like an orb came, like not just like floating like a bug or whatever, but like came flying out of the closet like toward her.
What was it?
Like an orb.
An orb, okay.
Yeah. So he says to his mom, because she can hear him, he says, hey, like an orb just like flew out of the closet at you, so you might want to like get out of there because the ghost is obviously pissed. You know what I mean? Because he saw it and she didn't. But then she decides she's going to challenge the ghost even further. She's like, hey, you want me to leave this room? Then you have to make me leave. That's what she said. And I was like, is this really the wisest move? Probably not. Now, then she said, and they did interview her on the show. She said, this really strange feeling traveled up my legs and started traveling up to my arms. She said it felt like all the air was being sucked out of the room. Like she couldn't breathe anymore. So like I said, that was kind of like what the daughter had reported, that she couldn't breathe. So she's like, okay, fair enough, and runs out of the room, like gagging and choking. Like she said, it felt like literally like all the air was being sucked out of the room and she couldn't breathe anymore.
Just a reminder, people, the super chats are open and I'm passing the fucking collection plate around. Okay. Jenny worked hard on the fucking. Jenny worked hard on these.
I work hard on everything.
She works hard on everything.
That's my whole thing.
Just passing that place on. I hate begging. Cyber begging.
I do too, and I'm glad you do it because I don't like to do it.
Yeah, it's hard to beg for yourself. I'm begging for other people.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I say. I just like to do my own thing, and it's like, hey, if people want to like give me money, then that's cool. But I'm not gonna. Like...
Let me go check the cooking again, bro.
Okay. So the family comes back, and they're like, okay, well, what's the verdict? And Margaret's like, well, I got some bad news for you. She says this ghost is very, very powerful and very, very violent. You're gonna need to do a cleansing, which, like, to me sounds like a little bit like what. There's really nothing you can do in this situation. Like, like I said, if any of this is real, I don't know. Like, I'm still like on the fence about it. But they're like, well, you have to do a cleansing. So Margaret says, well, I'm gonna try and find somebody that can do it, but it might be a few days or a week or something like that. And Judy is just kind of like, okay. Thank you, camp guy. Thank you very much. Like, look, Tom begging, like, actually, like, came to something. But yeah, like, thank you very much. So yeah. And Judy is like, look, I can't fucking wait that long because I'm pretty sure, like, my daughter is in danger. So maybe, Judy thinks that she can maybe do it herself. Margaret is like, well, you could, technically. She's like, but one of two things will happen. Either everything will work out good and, like, the ghost will be like, okay, fine, and, like, leave. They're like, but also the other option is that the ghost might just get really, really mad at you and then everything gets, like, exponentially worse. So, you know, you don't know how it's gonna go. But Judy's like, fuck it, I can't wait for, like, some specialist in cleansing to, like, come in because, you know, this is like a matter of life and death, apparently. That's what she felt. So she's like, I'm going to do some shit. Thank you, Mrs. Evans Artie Party. Thank you. Loving these shows. Jenny, you work so hard on research. Thank you. Oh, well, you're very welcome. These are fun, though. I really, like, we were talking before the stream started that we were actually really happy that we had, I don't know why we didn't think of doing it before, but we're actually, like, really happy that we started doing these haunting shows again, because these are always, like, super fun to do. Like, yeah, it's not a lot of work, like, watching them, but usually what we do is, like, we'll watch them in the evening, and then the next day, I usually watch the episode again, you know, so I can take notes about it, and then, like, I'll research if there's any other, like, supplemental material about, you know, like I said, if somebody wrote a book about it, or if there was, like, a local article about it, so I'll try to find other stuff about it. But, and then, like, I'll kind of, like, write a timeline of, like, what happened and stuff like that. But, yeah, these are actually, like, really fun to do. And hopefully, we said shit.
Oh, thank you. I see money, man. I got flash bulbs everywhere. Thank you very much.
Everybody gave us money because you left. I'm okay. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Nobody said. Right. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking with you. But, yeah, so... But we were talking earlier, like, before the stream started, that I was like, holy shit, like, even if we talked about every single episode of a haunting, it's like that'd be like years and years worth of content.
And then we can do Paranormal Witness.
And then, like I said, and there's so many other ghost shows. We could do, like, the pet one.
The one with
we could do Paranormal Witness.
Ghost
we could
animals.
Do Ghost Hunters. It's not even called that.
Well, I know. I think it's
called Most Haunted. It doesn't even have anything to do with animal anything, which I thought was
Animal
like
Planet.
it is on Animal Planet, or it used to be. I don't know.
And it was not bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
It wasn't as cool.
Like
as
I said, it seemed a little shoehorned, but that's okay. And I mean, if we wanted to get, like, really asshole-ic, we could talk about like the one with Zach Baggins on it, because that one.
I don't remember which one's that.
Isn't that Ghost Hunters? That was like the OG.
Nah.
That's what I mean. I don't really know if I want to sit through those because they're not fun. I like the ones that are more like reenactments. I don't really like the ones with, other than Ghost Brothers, which I actually really like.
Ghost Brothers was fucking
because those guys were actually, like, funny and entertaining. And weren't, like, didn't take themselves too seriously, which I appreciated. But the other kind of ghost hunter shows, usually it's just, like, people wandering out in a dark room, like, with that green, like, night vision shit, going like, did you hear that? I'm like, no, I didn't hear anything, okay? I didn't hear anything.
Now,
Stop it.
Of the ghost hunter ones, Ghost Brothers was the most entertaining one. 2 black dudes going to haunted locations.
3 black dudes.
3 black dudes, that's right. Going to haunted locations, scaring the shit out of each other. Did they find anything? No.
But at least, like I said, at least they don't
the shit out of each other.
At least they don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And
well,
they're
they
funny.
kind of were.
They kind of do, but like,
because they would get tripped out. They're like, "Oh, this is bad in here." Fucking, you know.
but they're just like They were just like entertaining, and like their interactions were entertaining.
Yeah, they were funny. They were good dudes.
Yeah.
You know?
I just feel like a lot of the other ones, like I said, is people taking themselves too seriously, and they're just kind of like, this person was murdered, and it's just like, shut up, just have like a good time.
You're not going to have any. As someone who's seen what you would call a paranormal phenomenon, you're not going to see it within the context of a fucking show that happens in 30 minutes, where a whole crew of people show up and film something in a few hours and go. You got to live in those locations.
That's what I mean. So I always kind of feel like they always have like some member of the crew. Hey, like, why don't you go in that other room and like move a chair or something? So like something happens on the ship. Yeah. I always kind of feel like that's probably what's going on. Did you hear that?
And poltergeist phenomena is totally spontaneous. You can't predict it. And when outside people come in, witnesses to see it, it stops, at least for a while. And then it builds back up. We did have a couple witnesses to ours. Fucking Jimmy. It was fucking Red's buddy who worked at fucking Round Table Pizza back in those days. And it scared the shit out of him, and we never saw him again after he saw it. He never saw him again. That was spooked me out. When I said, Red, he never came back. He says, no, he never came back.
Yeah, he was like, that's enough.
And they were friends for a long time. So he
Yeah.
never came back.
You saw some fucked up shit in the house.
Yeah.
You know.
Saw some fucked up shit and he never came back.
Yep.
And then our club friends, Dimitri and Jen, they get on here and tell you that, yeah, the remote picked up and flew.
Yeah, they all saw it.
They all saw it, yeah. Nobody was touching it.
Nope.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I was old when I did that.
That was only a few years ago.
A few years ago, yeah.
Like, what was
They're
that?
just in the right mindset.
3 or 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, and then the stack of coins at my feet.
Yeah, weird.
Weird.
But yeah, so at this point, Judy's like, okay, well, this is a
No, I can't control it. You have to think it's outside force. If you try to do it on your own and force it to happen, it won't do it. You have to channel it. And you have to believe that it's an outside force doing it. Which kind of goes back to some of the fucking Buddhist and Taoist philosophies and shit that you hear, like in Star Wars, that the force is flowing through someone. The person isn't making the force, it's flowing through it, you're channeling it. It's not you. Or it's the power of God doing it. It's not you. You know. Moses did things by the power of God. That's what these stories are talking about. Did Moses actually happen? No, I don't think so. But it still follows the laws that I witnessed. If you think it's you, it won't do it. That's too arrogant, I guess. Although maybe if you were to fucking go headlong and go, no, it's me, and you have like a super fucking psychopathic, egotistical personality, you might be able to do it by force of will. But it'd probably be pretty evil. You know. Kind of, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay. All right.
Well, it's like what the fucking emperor said: go kill all the children of the Jedi temple. After that, only then will you be strong enough in the dark side to fucking save Padme. So you got to do some evil shit to get the fucking confidence up to be that self-centered and that psychopathic to do it. Now, I think it's just an example. I don't know if things like that actually happen, but I think Lucas is pulling through a fucking stories of the past and just reading into what was written in ancient times and going, yeah, that's what they're talking about. Sorcery, necromancy, what they're talking about. Yeah. Okay. I'm done.
All right. So at this point, like I said, the paranormal lady Margaret, she's basically like, well, you could do the blessing yourself, the cleansing rather. She didn't do the blessing. But it either might make everything better or it might make everything like a lot worse. And Judy's like, well, this is a life or death situation. I can't risk it. I'm going to do it myself. I can't wait for like some expert to come in here and do it. So she gets a Bible from someplace, and everyone's gone. Like everybody's left like for work or for school. So she's at home by herself, and she basically just goes with a Bible from room to room, basically just telling the spirit to like get the fuck out. Like, why are you here? Like, get the fuck out of here. Now, she saves Caressa's room for last. Now, when she gets in there, she said that she felt as though someone was standing right beside her and that she was having trouble breathing, which is, again, like the very common thing for this room, apparently. Now, the show, like the reenactment, was like real dramatic. There was kind of like a mystery wind like blowing through the actress's tragic haircut and, you know, blowing the curtains around and shit like that. And there was like a bunch of noise and everything. Now, she didn't say that she saw all that crazy shit, although I think she did say later that she heard knocking on the walls while she was doing the cleansing or the blessing or whatever.
Black Frog is trying to send us money, but its purchase isn't going through for some reason. We can, Jenny can also do Cash App.
And PayPal. But, you know, whatever.
Right. And we still get the money.
Yeah. Okay, so after all of that, she goes to Margaret's office, like the paranormal office, and tells her what happened. Mm-hmm. And Margaret says, well, the fact that you heard all that knocking and that you felt somebody standing next to you, like, while you were doing the cleansing, that probably means, like, the ghost is pissed and isn't going to leave. So she didn't say you fucked it up, but she's basically like, well, I warned you that would probably happen. You just made the ghost mad. And she's like, oh, and by the way, you got to listen to this shit. So she plays Judy an EVP that she got in the house, like the night they were there. And this was, and I'm sure this wasn't the actual one because it was like super, super clear. But she plays an EVP and it's a man's voice very clearly saying, I'm here for the girl. So apparently this ghost is a fucking pervo who's obsessed with Caressa, the 17-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Margaret also says, by the way, I researched your house and discovered that there was a murder there 20 years ago where it was like a drug-related thing. It was like a drug dealer shot another drug dealer and then set the house or the body like on fire to cover the crime up, which she's like, that's probably why you guys smelled smoke. And so Margaret, I guess, suspects that like the murder victim is the one haunting the place and that the voices and stuff that they heard were like replays of the night of the murder. That was her theory anyway. Now at this point, Judy is like pretty frightened for the safety of her daughter and is finally able to convince her skeptical husband, John, we need to fucking move. So they do actually end up finding another house nearby, and Lisa and Jacob actually move out to their own apartment across town. Now, as they're packing up the last few things in the house, though, like to move away, Caressa goes into her old room because there's like one more box she needs to get. Like I said, I don't know if this happened or not. But yeah, it was just like that. Oh, just one more box and then we can leave. So she goes in there to get it. And while she's in the room, like the door slams and locks and she can't get it open. And she starts like panicking and like freaking out, right? And of course she can't climb out the window because as we mentioned earlier, the windows are nailed shut. Now in her room, there's like an air duct situation that like leads out into the hall. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like this kind of opens.
Called a return.
Like, yeah, like the little panel and then there's like, yeah, it's one of those. So so she opens that and then her mom and dad are out in the hallway and they're trying to like pull her out. So they're like, give me your hands or whatever. So they're like pulling her. And then apparently the ghost is trying to like pull her back into the room, like from inside there.
I'd like to know the real account, but
yeah, see, I don't know. Like the way they talked about it, it kind of sounded like what they showed, but they probably exaggerated it for the show, I'd imagine.
They're pulling her on one side and something else is pulling her on the other side.
Yeah, they said it felt like someone was pulling her from inside the room.
Yeah.
Like I'm like on the show they kind of pull like an invisible was like pulling her legs like from this side and they were pulling her from the arms to this side like she's like gonna tear her in half like a loaf of bread. But you know what I mean? But I don't know what it really looked like in reality, but they did seem to say that it felt like someone was pulling her from the other side. But apparently they do like pull her out and they hightail it out of this house never to return. Now, Caressa later on went back to normal. Everything went back to normal. She graduated from high school not long afterwards. She got a job. Everything was fine. Now, I will note, I was curious to see if there had really been a murder that happened in this particular house. And now, like I said, I couldn't find the actual address of this house, although on Pinterest, somebody had taken a picture of what they purported to be this house. And they said it was in the 1200 block. And the street, Hayward Drive, is not that long. So I was basically like Googling
Seeing if there was a murder in that
see
area.
if there was a murder on that street, like because they said when they moved in it was 2005, and they said, oh, the murder happened 20 years ago, which would have been 1985, and I found like a couple murders in Corpus Christi around that time, but I couldn't really find any. I'm not saying there wasn't one. I'm just saying that if there was one, it wasn't, it hasn't been digitized like the newspaper or whatever. I didn't really find anything that happened on that street. Well, there were some murders that happened on that street, but it wasn't like the same situation. What they said was that it was apparently like a drug-related thing. That's pretty much all they said. Like a drug-related thing. One guy came in and shot another guy and then set him on fire, or set the house on fire. Then they obviously didn't burn the whole house down because it was still there. But I couldn't find anything like that. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just saying that I didn't find anything like that. So I don't know. So I don't know like how much of the history of the house. I couldn't really find that much else about the house outside of this show. So I don't really know how much. I'm not saying they're lying. Like I said, I'm just saying
couldn't find anything outside.
I just couldn't find anything outside of it, like any kind of like corroborating it.
What this show is saying is this. I'm going to say this in paranormal and Hollywood terminology from the paranormal so y'all can understand what we're talking about. The show is saying that a young, charismatic woman in the prime of life, good genes, highly energetic, moves into an area where something bad happened. It's a place that's kind of fucking, strong with the dark side. And some kind of fragment or memory of the past, she's able to energize it, or it sees her and goes after her. That's basically what, and then later on, it does little phenomena, and then they have to get her out of there. That's what the story says.
Because honestly,
is something like that plausible? Maybe.
It seems like most of the phenomena was centered around her. Like other people saw stuff, like the mom saw stuff, the adult daughter also said she saw stuff, but most of the bad stuff that happened seemed to be centered around that.
Yeah, it sounds like poltergeist
that
to
teenager.
me. It sounds like poltergeist to me, which is like something out of The Shining. Seeing a fragment of the past and kind of bringing it to life for you and others. Your psychic abilities bringing this up back into reality. Now, in a situation like that, this dead person, are they really there? No, I don't think so. You're somehow reanimating a memory of a certain aspect of that person. And yeah, maybe that person would have been attracted to you. You know what I mean? And fucking, there's kind of a fucking lust element to it. Do I think that there was a ghost, a full-fledged ghost of a dude in there?
Creeping around in her closet?
I don't think so. And
I hope not. I
think it was a fragment of a person or a memory that she...
Seriously, if I woke up in the middle of the night and our closet door opened by itself, I would fucking shit a brick.
Yeah. Having a poltergeist experience, a near-death experience, and an out-of-body experience, based on what I saw when I was out of body on those 2 times, if you die, or you come close to death, or if you exteriorize yourself, even if it's spontaneously in an out-of-body experience, you tend to want to gravitate higher into higher realms, which I would characterize as heavens. And I was kind of instantly understood that if you continue to go, I don't want to say up, because up is not really what it is. It's more like higher frequencies. If you continue to go in that direction and you naturally gravitate towards it, you won't come back. Later on, reading things led me to envision where you go is what the Greeks called the pleroma. It's the place where gods come from and where souls come from. It's the place where consciousness comes from. If you go into that, you enter a singularity. You don't come back. Star Wars to say some people learn to come back from becoming one with the Force. Then you come back as a ghost. I felt like if you go up, you vanish. You become one with the sea of souls. But it's plausible because even in the brief moments where I was kind of exteriorized, you're kind of connected to a cosmic internet I knew that there were things that were closer to this realm that were just fragments of the past. They were kind of like the insects of the spirit world. Memories. They weren't full consciousnesses, though. They weren't people, per se. They were just kind of like things. Little evil things, kind of. They weren't fully conscious, though. So maybe she saw something like that. A piece of a person that was left behind. Because, you know, a soul can be kind of, is not really a solid object. And a soul could cast off a bad part of itself and then go somewhere else. And that bad part of that soul doesn't die. It's life energy. It can continue in this other dimension that I'm talking about. It might evolve into something else or dissipate. I don't know. They didn't have time enough to experiment with it. But that's probably what happened. That's my idea. She was in good condition, young, charismatic, high energy, good genetics. She goes into a place where something bad happened, and she gained access to it and energized it. It came for her. But it wasn't a full person. It was a piece of a person, a piece of a soul. That'd be a good way to describe it. But it wasn't it wasn't dangerous to begin with. It's just her seeing it. And it's doing phenomena.
And like I said, I haven't heard it. There haven't been any further reports that anything else happened at that particular house.
If me and you were to go in there, nothing would probably happen. It was just that she was able to access it in that area. She was the right kind of person for it at that time and place. That's what I think it was.
Danny Rolling said, "Can I be a blue wrench, please?"
You can be a blue wrench.
You know what? I don't know if I can do it from here anymore. I'm gonna have to go back through YouTube and do this shit because maybe you can do it. Oh, that's right. I meant to make you I
can't do it.
You know what? I will make you another moderator on here, and then you'll be able to do it. I meant to do it before.
I thought we did it before. You just pressed it and you could make a person.
Well, yeah, but I could do it, but that was when I was going through YouTube. Now I'm just going through OBS. Okay. So I can't there's dots there, but they don't do anything.
They don't do anything. Okay.
They're just for show, right. I guess. But I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, we'll eventually make you. But yeah, we got all kind of look at all the porn bots.
Yeah, porn bots.
In a way, it's just kind of I don't know. They don't really bother me that much. Because I was is that really working? And it's well, they wouldn't be putting porn bots in the show if we didn't have a big enough following. Honestly, every time I post a video, the first 2 or 3 comments I get are always porn bots. Yeah. Danny, usually German nowadays.
Danny, you post comments and they vanish a couple seconds later. I don't know if that's some kind of setting you have or what. All right, so is that it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so that's it. I gotta go down there to take care of the cooking.
Yeah, we gotta eat some food. Yeah. It's about dinner time.
Yeah, I'll start setting it up.
So, all right. So thanks everybody for dropping by today. Thanks for super chats, and we will be back tomorrow, and we're gonna be talking about the 1987 movie, The Untouchables. That's what we're gonna be talking about tomorrow. So, thank you everybody for hanging out with us this evening, and we will see you again tomorrow evening. Bye.